Hello, this is me just doing a book review. I practiced the Goetia of the Key of Solomon, the King of Matters, since the beginning of my own personal path. My aunt and my grandmother and my mother were traditional witches, and in Finland, so I'm a hereditary witch. But I didn't like what they were doing, so I decided to take my own road, and that went me into magic. And that's why maybe Morrigan came along as well, since when it's trouble in the family, and my grandmother used to hit me with a belt and try to force me to come into the coven. My mother had two sisters, so there were three sisters, and then my grandmother, and they wanted to force me to join them, and they cursed the land, and I loved the land, I loved the animals. So I ran off from home as a 6-year-old girl for the first time. And then I decided to do my best in finding my own way. So I went to a priest and asked for some angels, and he told me about Michael. I knew about Michael, of course. I have both Catholic and Orthodox Christians on my father's side and my grandfather, so I live with them instead. And my father helped me to read Key of the Solomon of the King, since he knew that my mother came back into our life. She became a Christian suddenly, and into Swedenborg, and but she was never a reliable person. She was difficult, great anger and bitterness. So I did it first for protection of myself, and then the protection for the horses and sheep and the cattle that I had, and that's the way it started for me. But this is a great book, and it's big and thick, and I don't know how much you can see in this. But I got connected to the Shemhaphorash.angels and all these practices. And then I, of course, had the Golden Dawn book as well in the beginning. But since my aunt was into the Egyptian style of magic, and I hated my aunt, so I refused to practice with those. So I went straight into the angels and skipped the Egyptic parts. I was the wild one. I did my own thing. And I think that the great Morrigan helped me along with that way. And this is, I truly enjoy this book since it's easy to me to read. So after the stroke, I was quite upset since I had difficulty in seeing the sigils, and my dear man of 30 years, he bought me this book so I could see it clearly, and then he's written out some of the sigils in a big way on white paper for me to see. I love this man. He don't like the magic thing with me, and he don't particularly like me to call on angels either, since he sometimes gets bad dreams and those things that happen when you are into magic. He's very sensitive, but he refuses to say it. But each time there's been some, when my mother was still alive and she cursed us, and she had a familiar spirit that she used to send to trouble him and me, so he always woke up. I didn't care, but he woke up and, oh, you got to do something about that. I don't like this. And then I had to go into protection mode and banish. So I could never really leave the occult world, and so it's been a part of my life since the beginning. And one thing that many people don't know about being a hereditary witch, that there were some very ugly parts that's been romanticized in the New Age thing. Like my grandmother had this dead viper that was in a jar filled with alcohol, and she put that around my head. And I was so sad for the viper. She had killed the viper, and I could never forgive her for that, and I love animals, so that was the horrible side of the witch part. And then they were into church each Sunday and were so-called Christians, and then they used to take some of the holy water, saying they had trouble with ghosts, and then they used it for other things, so that the ancestral witch thing isn't so big for me. And that's why I see myself more as a druid or a magician instead of witch. I can't really use the word witch. And I actually only practice theurgy. It was the organic part when I was younger, since I was so angry that my mother cursed my horse and things like that, so I did some quite good reversals and protections with her. But this is one of the books, and I truly love this, that but this thing I hate. I so wish it would have been together. If you can see here, it's very difficult for me to see and put it together in a clear way. And here are some of the... I truly enjoy this book. It's so clear and easy to read. And if you have the money, then I think this is a very good buy. And as always, this book gets 2 thumbs up, and have a magical day. Bye for now.